Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lisi, aka the Brooklyn Book Belle, and this is my June reading wrap up. Oh my goodness. Whew, after, the last 6 months, my reading has really been kind of up and down. You know what I mean? So it felt good to have just like a regular back to it full month of reading. And ladies and gentlemen, I read 21 books. Now I was going to try to be petty and read a quick little book to make it 22, but I just don't have I've done enough. I did it. I did the thing, and it's okay. And sometimes we read uneven amounts of books, and even though that makes my brain tickle just a little, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. How are y'all though? How are y'all? What are y'all up to? What are y'all reading? Another thing, thank y'all. Y'all saw my Herkit video and dropped some bomb recs in the comments, and I am so appreciative. Thank you so much, and I'm going to comment back on each and every one of them because that's what we do around here. You know what I'm saying? I talk back. Okay, I'm coming to say hey to y'all in like as soon as this video is over, actually, after I get done. You know what I mean? Okay, let's just get into June. I have a few minutes before I have to leave. There's nothing there. My watch is over there charging, but I have a few minutes because tonight I'm going to meet, or I'm going to see Speak Mara Kaale. And if you know me, I love that lady. Like, I love her work so much. Like, I think she's such a bomb-ass storyteller, and she tells Black stories so fucking well. And so I'm very curious about how it's going to translate into writing from like her screen work into a book. But I mean, she's a storyteller, so I feel like it's going to translate well. But I did look at like the synopsis of the book, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be heavy. Okay, Mara girl, what's going on over there? But I am very excited to go pick up the book today and hopefully have her sign it and get to take a picture with her. I'm very excited about that. So let's talk about June. 30 days in the month of June. Shout out to June. We are officially in Cancer season. Shout out to all my Cancers. My birthday's in a few days. I'm so excited. So yeah, so shout out to June. Let's see, what did we do? Of course, I don't have it pulled up because who would I be if I actually was prepared? Like, who would I be? I also have Beyonce, Cowboy Carter, the concert playing in the background because a year ago today, you know where I was at? Cowboy Carter. And Beyonce has decided that we're not getting an album this year, and that's okay or whatever. I mean, I'm sad, but fine, girl, take a break. I mean, let your man have a summer, I guess. Soften. She coming back though. Okay, 21 books read in the month of June, and that was 4,008 pages. Oh my goodness, with an average finish time of 12 days. This is ridiculously higher because I finished like a few books that I started a couple months ago and just picked back up. You know, Storygraph just keeps counting like you reading it. I wasn't reading it, and I need to learn to use the pause button better. I'm gonna work on that in the future, especially with starting Herkit tomorrow. A lot of y'all said y'all doing Herkit. I love that. That too. The work is doing the work for me. Okay. Okay. Y'all know I don't like the pace data, but page number data and fiction, nonfiction. So 14% of my books were between 300 and 499 pages. There were a couple thickies last month. I think there were like 3. Yeah, there were 3 books that were those many pages. And then 86% was less than 300. I like a good 250 page book or less, and I was knocking those out. But I did get a couple thickies done, so I was proud of myself for that. Between fiction and nonfiction, 19% was nonfiction. 4 books. I love that as well. 4 nonfiction books, and 81% was fiction. I think that's a really good kind of like balance. I think the one I'm most proud of, digital, was 76% read, because I always have my phone or my iPad or something, but 19% was print, and for the first time I listened to an audiobook, and so 5% was audio, and I'm really proud of myself for that, because I really struggled with listening to audiobooks. But now that I have this internship and I have to go 3 days a week, I need something in my ears, and so I was listening to With Love from Harlem, and baby do I have thoughts. Okay, Okay, so let's get into running down what books I read. Let's see, 21 books. We'll start at the beginning and work our way to the end. Okay, perfect. So the first book that I read was A Solo Honeymoon by Frankie Majesty. And this was my first book by this author. And it was a good time. It was a good time. 221 pages. I read it digitally. And it was about a girl who, or a woman who, what was her name? She was jilted at the altar. Her name was Ryan. And then she was supposed to go on this like luxurious honeymoon at this like hideaway place that's super exclusive, super like secluded, but can like cater to your every whim. They have different classes and excursions and different things, like whatever you can think of, they had it at this place. Well, lo and behold, honey, a couple spots her, she spots them, and they decide to become entangled altogether. The heated fellowship in this was really good. It was really good. And I actually really like the plot too, because you know, sometimes I hear a lot of like erotic books kind of get not dragged, but they get talked down on because the plot isn't always plotting. But this one was really interesting. I mean, you have a woman jilted at the altar. She goes on her honeymoon by herself, you know what I'm saying? And then she falls in love with this couple, and it is like insta love over in that mug. Let me turn this down. I'm not trying to get my video took down. It is insta love with the three of them, which I thought was lit. And she could be with the lady, she could be with the dude. It was really good. So I would definitely suggest, if you're looking for 211 pager digital, some real good heated fellowship, this is a good one. This is a good one. Okay, the next book that I read was A More Perfect Party, The Night Shirley Chisholm and Diane Carroll Reshaped Politics. It was 256 pages. I read the hardcover copy and have since gifted it to a friend to borrow. This was one of my nonfiction reads, and an MSNBC political analyst and Crooked Media podcast co-host shares the little-known story of the night Shirley Chisholm's 1972 fundraiser party, hosted by actress Diane Carroll, revealed a powerful new model for politics centered on Black women and how we could use it today. First of all, everyone's using her strategy for how, not everyone, I'll take that back. I looked at Kamala Harris's campaign and Mayor Mamdani's campaign, and they were almost to the T exact replicas of Shirley Chisholm's 1972 campaign, right? There's this like undercurrent of the underserved but the smart moving behind the scenes outside of popular politics, and how those groups intertwine, engage, and how they show up even in their own bias and lack of support. White feminist, they definitely got a call out in the book. But I will say this one was a really informative read. I do think that a lot of nonfiction books, you can sometimes go down a rabbit hole. This one was so concise and so well put together, and the information was really delivered in a digestible way. I really appreciated that, especially with having read so much nonfiction over the last 2 years. So I would say that this one is definitely one, if you're interested in politics, that everyone should pick up. Very good read. Okay, the next book that I read was The Fire That Burns by Kaale. Y'all know I love Kaale. And this was a 232 page digital one that slipped through my fingers last year. I don't know how that happened, but Gina's heart was broken a couple years ago by Fire Jordan, and it is a second chance romance. She is a traveling nurse, and he is he an OBGYN? Huh. Was he an OBGYN? He had some sort of private practice. I really want to say that it's an OB. Yeah, because he was delivering babies. And so she takes on this assignment. She doesn't know where she's been assigned. Child, she's been assigned to her ex's practice. And there was a lot of reason why they broke up. It was a lot of heartbreak, all the things. But he is very much like, I'm in this to get my woman back. And from the rooter to the tutor, honey, he gets his woman back, okay? Y'all know Kay does amazing Heated Fellowship as well, but this story was super sweet. And I like the idea of like a second chance where it happens not organically, but serendipitously, right? Like, I just happen to be this type of nurse who gets this assignment randomly, and it just happens to be with the guy who broke my heart, but he wants to work overtime to get her back. Very good read. Very good read. I really enjoyed that one. Okay, the next book that I read was Sign of the Slayer by Sharina Harris. I read this one digitally. It was 472 pages, and it probably took me a very long time to read it. Hence my my 12-day finish time. This was one of the ones that took me a while, but I really enjoyed this one. Sign of the Slayer follows a high school student. What is her name? They end up calling her Texas because that's her Slayer name. But it follows this girl who finds out that she's a part of the Slayer Academy. And I think I got the second book as an arc, and that's why I needed to read the first one. But it's Full Metal Alchemist meets Vampire Diaries in a dark academic setting. And so she goes to this Slayer Academy where there's, of course, a fight against light and dark. There are factions at war. But this one has a very interesting kind of like historical context to it. Like Alexander the Great is a part of it, and like he was like the first vampire, and the alchemist like helped him, but we don't really know much about the alchemist. It's kind of like not the overlord, but the god of this. But her person is a vampire, so she's supposed to be a slayer, and her guy is a vampire, and that has its own thing that kind of unravels in a very, very, very cinematic and interesting way. And the fighting was super good. The lore is something I haven't read before, and I'm really enjoying books with magical systems that are super, super creative. Like, I really think that people are stepping out of their comfort zone and writing things that we haven't seen before, and that's amazing. If you like YA, young adult, new adult, and want a little vampire slayer situation, Sign of the Slayer was super good. Super, super good. Okay, the next book that I read was the Sweetest, because it was seedy, child. The Sweetest Heat by Bianca Xavier. No, Xavier. Huh. Okay, but this is an erotic short, so this one I read digitally. It was only 72 pages, and meet Scotty Jackson, a girl who is bored with her sex life with her boyfriend, Arsenio Baker. When she and her best friend, Alicia Green, take their flirting to the next level, Scotty's Pandora's box is open, and this is her story. It was very sexy. It was real raunchy, and I really enjoyed it because sometimes I just want a quick erotica. And although this one is definitely like about a girl sexing her best friend, which is not an interest of mine, I want to read about it, and it was fantastic. You want a little nastiness? The Sweetest Heat was really good. Real good. Real good. I would definitely say go over there for that heated fellowship. Real good. Okay, the next book I read was More Than Friends by Urania, and this was also a shorty, 73 pages. I read this one digitally, and this is a friends to lovers. Jada knows exactly what she wants in a man: loyal, funny, emotionally available, and someone who actually sees her. The problem is every guy she dates sucks. Enter the best friend. Her guy best friend kind of tricks her into dating his friend through text messages. Problem number one, he didn't get her no picture. Problem number two, don't be hooking me up with nobody that I can't see, okay? Because the fuck? And the guy just turns out to be perfect. And I said it was a friends to lovers. Put it together. Put it together. I will. It's super short. If you just need like something to get you to, you know, your goal or whatever, this is a good one. But I really actually liked it. I was like, oh, this is super cute. And I was in a friends to lovers like journey last month. I don't know what was going on, or this month. Okay, so because today's the 30th, but we almost done, and I'm not reading nothing else today, so we wrapping it up. Okay, the next book that I read was Sometimes I Trip on How Happy We Could Be by Nicole Perkins. And pop culture is the Pandora's box of our lives. Racism, wealth, poverty, beauty, inclusion, exclusion, and hope. All these intractable and unavoidable features course through the media we consume. Examining pop culture's impact on her life, Nicole Perkins takes readers on a rollicking trip through the last 20 years of music, media, and the internet from the perspective of one Southern Black woman. She explores her experiences with mental health illness and how TV shows Frasier served as a crutch, how her role as a mistress led to certain internet message boards that prepare her for current day social media, and what it means to figure out desire and sexuality and Prince in a world where marriage is the only acceptable goal for women. I actually really enjoy that women are like, goal is not marriage is not my only goal. I mean, sure, do I want partnership, but I also am just making a full life for myself, and if like someone comes along, cool. And I think reading things like this really kind of shine light on that. I enjoyed each of kind of like her essay entries in this book. My friend who recommended it was like, she read it and it was just at the appropriate time, and I can honestly say, me picking it up, it was at the appropriate time. I couldn't put it down. 272 pages. I read it in paperback, and think of it as like a glimpse into an older cousin's diary as she's telling you about her exploration of sex, relationships, men, and all the things, and like the wild shit that she got up to. And even as, you know, a 36, about to be 37-year-old, you're like, oh, you did what? But in like the best way possible. Read this with a glass of wine before you go to bed at night, you know. It's one of those, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, the next book that I read was All She Ever Wanted Was a Real One, A Best Friend's Brother's Romance by Kaale Hall. I've been reading Kaale Hall, I know, since I first got on TikTok back in 2021, and I always say that Kaale gives you the perfect dose of like drama and romance. Like, her books be messy, boy, but I like that. I like that. So this one I read digitally. It was 224 pages, and it's in the release. It was released this year. I really like this one. So the female main character, what was her name? Because y'all, my RAM is full, but I remember the books. Thank the Lord. Ooh, okay. Girl, but what's your name? I remember the guy's name is Oakland. Oh my God, what's her name? Oh, Lex. Okay, Oakland and Lex. So Lex is actually engaged to a guy who we know she probably should not marry, and Oakland comes home from the military, and he is like, what are you doing? Like, why are you with this guy? But we don't know that they have like a romantic history before he went off to the military, and so this kind of follows the week leading up to her wedding and them rekindling their relationship and how her best friend takes it, because he is her best friend's brother. I just want to say, I don't like any of my best friend's brothers, but to each their own. I'm just kidding. But this one was, again, very messy, very romantic. Oakland was the perfect on-page book boyfriend, and yeah, that one was a fun read. Really enjoyed it. Okay. I want to say, when I say I really enjoyed it, I actually did. I would tell y'all if I was like, it didn't really hit for me. But this month, I just happened to pick really good books, and so a lot of them I actually liked. Okay, the next book that I read was Finding Me, an age gap novella by Timber Sapphire. What a writing name. If that is your real name, that is cool. Timber Sapphire, honey. Like, that's a good name. Okay, it was 143 pages, and I read it digitally. And this is about a recent divorcee who was married to a professional football player, but soccer. So professional soccer player living in Paris. And she meets a younger man at a bar one night, has a one-night stand. The heated fellowship was really great. She can't stop thinking about it. He walks in the next morning with her ex-husband's teammate. He has just been drafted to the same football club as her ex-husband, and drama ensues. It wasn't forgettable, but I will say, like, their love story, he was very commanding, in the sense that, like, even though it's an age gap, he's younger, she's older, he had this very, like, not forcefulness, but commanding kind of like presence to himself that I really appreciated. But I would say this one would be a good like time filler. It was cool. It was good. Okay. The next book that I read was one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and it's Snowed In Shadow Wolf Creek Collab number 9, Unknowingly Bound to a Shifter by Elle Medeiros. These two are best friends, but if you know anything about shifters, if you can't smell them or catch their scent, you won't imprint on them. But I don't know if they use the word imprint in this collab, but Yara is not a wolf. Nadim is the alpha wolf, and so he is expected to imprint on the most powerful wolf shifter, but instead he has this very close friendship with Yara, and we can't understand why he just won't. Are you imprinting on this girl? Is she your best friend? What is happening? Everyone is trying to call it into question, and then it unravels what is actually happening behind the scenes, and it is really like it's not a thriller, but it's a little bit on the like magical mystery side. Like, why are your powers not working? What's happening here? And then they have to like go on this kind of like journey to unravel that. And that's why I really liked it. But yeah, 196 pages digital. You do not have to read the Snowed In Shadow Wolf Creek collab in order. They're all pretty much standalones, but I've read quite a few of them and they're very, very fun. Okay, the next book that I read was Why We Can't Wait by Martin Luther King Jr. 240 pages. It's a paperback, and I just want to say that being raised in Birmingham, Alabama, you hear the I Have a Dream speech, but we're not really taught or given literature that goes into the politics and the policies of civil rights leaders. One, because they don't want people in the South to rise up, but two, it's just not done, and we know why, right? Go back to point one. But I'm, as an adult, I am very much like building what my kind of like ethos are, and so things around like civil rights, abolitionist work, feminist work, like all of those things call to me very spiritually and organically, and so I have a natural curiosity about them. I seek them out. I sought out this book. So there comes a time when the cup of endurance runs over and men are no longer willing to be plunged into the abyss of despair. The quotes in this book, like I read Letter from a Birmingham Jail, and that is in this book because he talks about how he got to what was it, 1964, 1965, but the year that the laws changed around civil rights, like he's documenting how he got, or how we got there, and it includes his letter from the Birmingham jail in 1963. But Alabama was perhaps the most racially segregated city in the United States, and the campaign launched by Dr. King and the civil rights movement on the segregated streets of Birmingham demonstrated to the world the power of non-violent direct action, which will be my next independent research project. I want to research nonviolent direct action because I mean, it's important. One, it's important. Two, I had never had the words of what they actually did, right? And how detailed and thorough they were in the pledges that they took, and how you could participate in the movement, and how they wanted you to. Like, everything was thought out so thoroughly. I'm probably going to do a video on just this book because I'm still kind of sitting with my thoughts. But if your interests are in kind of like, I don't really know my part in the movement currently because we're still in the movement, if you didn't know. I don't know my part. I don't know how to show up. Like, I would definitely suggest reading Why We Can't Wait, an entire book written by Dr. King on this movement. Like, very important work. Okay, next, and I went through that fast because I really do think I want to spend time, especially through an adult learning lens, going over Why We Can't Wait. Just His Luck was the next book by Laquana Brumfield. This was a new to me author. This is a 95-page digital short, and this one was about Lucky and Navi. And Lucky needs a date to her sister's wedding. She's the last sister that's single, and her mama is always just like, well, when you get a man, I'll be so proud of you, and all this bullshit. And she's just like, girl, I am a hot mess. The only man in my life is my best friend. Enters let's fake date for my sister's wedding. And he don't play about Lucky. And I like men that don't play about their ladies. He is like a military guy, which I'm kind of like, I don't know about that. I've never really heard great things about being with a military man, but there are so many military men. Maybe one or two are good. I don't know. I'm joking. I want nobody in my comments saying I'm anti-military. That's not what I said. Thank you for your service. But this book was, again, 95 pages. It goes the weekend of her sister's wedding, and the maybe a month after. But can friends becomes lovers through like fake dating? Such a cute little book and a happy ending. I really enjoyed that one too. Oh my god, y'all, so this is me from editing in the middle of Love Island, and I left out one of the books. How did I do that? Stormy Nights, an erotic short, was a best friends to lovers erotic story about this girl. She was like going to have like a weekend at like a cabin, and on the way there, her car like breaks down and it's in the middle of the storm, and her best friend, her best guy friend, has to like come and get her, because who else you call when your car break down? Well, he ends up going to the cabin with her, and they explore feelings that they figure out that they have about each other just from being in the close proximity of the cabin. And it's an erotic, and it's under 100 pages, and it's actually really good. I'm so sorry I left that out, but yeah, okay, back to the video. But yeah, if you're looking for an erotic short, best friends to lovers, Stormy Nights is a good one. Okay, bye. Okay, the next one is The Smoke Hour by Egypt Sine, and it is 162 pages, another shorty. It was a digital. This is my first time reading this author. This book came out last year. One night with my girls was all I wanted, to escape the weight of my financial woes. Oh, because her business is like suffering, and so she like decided that she was gonna marry this man who paid off her debt, but he is terrible. Oh God, I wouldn't wish that on nobody, honey. It's giving that scene and Set It Off where she had to sleep with the old man. Oh my God, he was terrible. But enter Colton Soko, the edgy, irresistible owner of the lounge. So these girls done broke into a lounge that they was not supposed to be in, because it's all men's lounge. And she done got on stage acting like a stripper, child. It just was a fun night. But she caught the eye of the owner of this establishment, and the book goes through, oh my goodness. So sorry. Oh, girl, you need some water? But this goes through her figuring out her finances, falling in love with the smoke club owner, and trying to figure out breaking up with this man who she now owes money to because he fixed her financial issues. Very good plot and story. I really enjoyed that one. Okay, the next book that I read is another first time author for me, Halima M. This one was Residuals, Kamari Morietti, number 409, honey. Let me tell you something. I really like Residuals. All 409 pages. Y'all know I do not like long books. I don't like them, but I really like this one. Halima, if you see this, hey girl. When are we getting book 2? Just curious. No pressure. No pressure. But this one was good. Okay, so 5 years after the city buried Kamari Morietti, the world learned to live without him. Ashley DeVoe did too. At least she tried. Raising her children trapped in Judah's world, her new man, who we hate. Ashley learned the hard way that survival always comes with a price, but when a violent attack meant for Judah leaves her caught in the crossfire, the past she's trying to outrun comes crashing back with it. Now Kamari is home, alive, older, and more dangerous than ever. As old betrayals resurface and the city grows up for war, Ashley finds herself torn between the man she never stopped loving and the life she built to survive without him. One of my favorite books of the month. Like, we're talking like street crime, intrigue, shootouts. Your dead man came back from the grave and he got beef with your new man. Your mama needs to be smacked. She does. Yeah. Your mama needs to be smacked. And you should also probably go no contact with her. Specifically her. But yeah, if you like urban romance, this one was, if I gave out stars, 4.7. If I gave out stars, but I don't. The next book was a reread, number 27 in the Westmoreland series by Brenda Jackson. The Brenda Jackson, okay? And I reread Stern to keep with my friends to lovers books for the month. This was 192 pages. I own a physical copy, but I think I read this one digitally. So Stern and JoJo have been best friends their whole lives, and these are not the Atlanta Westmorelands. These are the Denver, right? Don't they live in Denver? They live in Colorado. Pretty sure. But JoJo has her own mechanic shop, and she is kind of like the tomboy friend, and she goes to her friend and she's like, I feel like the ugly duckling. I want a man, and so I'm gonna get a makeover. And Stern is like, what? You don't have to make yourself over, blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna make yourself over. And she's like, but I have a crush on a guy. He's like, what guy? And she's like, I can't tell you because you're my friend. And like, he figures out who the guy is, and he sabotages that shit. And then he has to wrestle with the emotion of if he's in love with his best friend or not. And can they cross that line and not sabotage the friendship? It was really good. It was so dramatic. It was really great. It's a reread. I first read that book when it came out in 2013. Love Brenda. Love the Westmorelands. You should read it if you haven't. Okay, the next book is also a reread. I reread The Wright Brothers #1, Getting Schooled by Christina C. Jones. I read this one digitally, 210 pages. 26-year-old Reese accepts a position as a grad student. She has no idea the unpleasant encounter with the student will lead to a discovery that she calls the trifecta: fine, intellectual, and a little bit rude. Jason is a grown man, honey, 28 years. He is in school and she's his graduate assistant, and they have they get off on the wrong foot, but they keep having these very serendipitous moments where they see each other or bump into each other and all the things. And so this one was good. Christina C. Jones don't write a bad book. I mean, if you've never read a Christina C. Jones, this is a good one to start with. Low stakes, high romance, very good. Okay, the next book that I read that I finished, because I had been reading this since, let's see, when did I first start listening? Oh, March 5th. And I finished it on June 25th. I'm ridiculous. But With Love from Harlem by Rashonda Tate, and Lynette Freeman was the narrator. I really enjoy Lynette as the narrator of this story. That actually made it super fun to listen to. I don't know what's going on with my throat. Let me get some water. I'll be right back. Woo, okay. I am back. I don't know what that was, but I had a little frog in my throat. I don't know. Okay. From the Queen of Sugar Hill author Rashonda Tate, this new novel was inspired by beloved Harlem jazz performer Hazel Scott, and equal parts exhilarating and tumultuous relationship that changed the course of her life. Let me tell y'all something. I haven't hated a man on the page as much as I hated Adam Clayton Powell Jr. in a really long time. I was late to the With Love from Harlem book. It came out earlier this year, and I know all the girly pops have talked about it. It follows Hazel Scott, and she meets Adam Clayton Powell Jr., like the actual one, and he's married and a pastor and was laying it low, spreading it wide all through Harlem, and gets with Miss Hazel. And really, I think he really probably had good intentions, but oh, he was such a shitty ass fucking husband. I felt so bad. I found myself just being like, girl, stand up. Fuck. Oh, he was so terrible. But they were together for decades, and she was the Harlem socialite, starlight, and she was a real talent in the relationship. And Adam was a fuckboy. No shade. But I will say historical fiction is definitely cracking the wall around my cold, dead heart toward historical fiction. It's not really my favorite. I'm warming up. And With Love from Harlem definitely had had a lot to do with me being more open to listening, or to reading. So the next book that I read was When Love Takes Over by Kaale Shanae, 252 pages. I read it digitally. And 30-year-old Malaya thought things were looking up for her after a lifetime of disappointments. Her dream of becoming a pastry chef is within reach, and she walks in on her boyfriend sleeping with her fuck ass roommate. Fuck bitches who fuck other people's men's. Y'all really suck ass. And She has him to sleep in her office, and then the owner's grandson Kenzo is like, girl, you not sleeping in here, I'll get you a hotel room. I mean, he's like, we ain't paying you good enough. She like, look, I just paid for my pastry, my chef classes. I thought my life was getting better. Enter Kenzo. Kenzo didn't play about Malaya, but what Malaya doesn't know is that he has to marry someone to take over his family's company. So kind of like arranged marriage or marriage of convenience. But yeah, I talked about this one in my sit with me and read one book in one sitting. And you know, Kay always delivers. Her Heated Fellowship is some of my favorite Heated Fellowship on page, but her plotting and her storytelling and how her characters make it to the happily ever after always overshines how good the Heated Fellowship is. So Kay is always going to be a must-read author for me. So if you're looking for a good 250-page romance where they do fall in love in 250 pages, When Love Takes Over is a great place to start. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, the next book was Claimed in Vegas by Soleil. I really hope I'm saying that right. Claimed in Vegas by Soleil. And this is about a record label owner, Boston, and a model. Her name is Harvest. She goes on a break with her boyfriend, goes to Vegas for a couple gigs that she has to do, modeling, and he gets jilted at the altar. And so while he's out trying to drink his life away because he is sad that that hooch left him at the altar, he meets Harvest, and they end up getting married while they drunk. And then he's like, well, let's try it for 30 days. And she like, all right. Heated Fellowship in this is out of control, honey. This is more Heated Fellowship than plot, but the plot was good. You know what I'm saying? So was the Heated Fellowship. Yeah, I like Boston. He had real big dick energy. I really appreciated that. And baby, the way he was tossing and flipping Harvest through this book, he was putting her not through the mattress, baby, through the flow. He was like, I'm going past the mattress, I'm going to the flow. So a nice little erotica. A nice erotica with a really good plot. I really appreciated this one too. Okay, the last book that I read this month was The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Feeels. I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to butcher her name because names are important. But this book is 179 pages. I did read the paperback, and The Secret Lives of Church Ladies explores the raw, tender places where Black women and girls dare to follow their desires and pursue a momentary reprieve from being good, if that ain't the truth. And I will say, like, and I talked to my mom about this morning, just about how, you know, good and pious and pure the Christian church, especially if you're, you know, especially if you're in the Black church, like, really impresses upon women, right, to detach themselves from their sexuality and their sexual essence and their sexual being. And I think we have so many generations of Black women and Black girls who grow up and then get to adulthood and they're like, I have to figure this out at adulthood, when if I could have healthily explored things and not felt shame around them and all the things. I'm so sick of it. I really am. I want us all to be very free, and free from all of the confines of things. I'm sorry, I'll have my thoughts together. But I really enjoyed each of these stories of each of these women in this book. It was very freeing reading this. And I would put it on my must-read books for all Black women. All of us. Free yourselves. No shade. Free yourself, please. I just read it last night, and I'm probably going to do a short review on it by itself. But I want to sit with it for a day or so. It's still fresh on my mind. But definitely top 10 books I've read this year. Out of the 78 I read. It's fantastic. Disha, girlfriend, you ate that. You really, really ate that. It definitely gave me something to think about, and definitely gave me something to go back to, for sure. All right, y'all, that concludes my June wrap up. 21 books. Thanks for sitting with me this long. If you made it this far in the video, please don't hesitate to drop a stack of books down below and let me know if any of these books tickled your fancy, and if you're gonna try out any of them, read any of them. If you read any of them, give me your thoughts. I would love to know what you thought of these books as well. But yeah, another day, Black Booktube is reading, and I'm out here posting. Look at that. We doing it, y'all. Have y'all checked out any of the other creators that are doing the challenge? I have been really thoroughly enjoying watching everyone's videos. And so I would definitely follow the playlist and go and see, you know what I'm saying? If there's other creators that you might like to follow, because I do think that by following different creators with different reading tastes, you come across so many different books, like so many different things. And that is the joy of being in this community. But that is all I have for you guys. And until next time, bye.